Hello world, this is Chuck. It's Sunday, January 15th, 2023. I'm not in the hospital today, but my body here looks so much different than it did just a couple years ago. The stroke happened 12/7 of 92, so still having problems with my left arm, and it's getting worse from disuse. And my body composition is changing because I'm eating as recreation now. So anyway, I propped my camera up against a partially full coffee cup here, so I hope you can hear more than the fan on the computer. Anyway, I'll upload this to Facebook and I'll upload it to YouTube. My battle with heart disease and recovery from stroke keeps continuing, and so I've got an appointment, or trying to get an appointment, with UT Southwestern with a neurologist that is also a physical therapist, so we can work on this left side. And I got permission from the cardiologist because the laser people, the laser hair removal people, freak out about my heart. They think somehow the light's going to jump into my heart and stop my heart, which I think is crazy. Let me share with you an experience I had yesterday with Grubhub, and also the one I had with Domino's. And it's just atrocious. I was starving, and so I go to Grubhub, which comes with Amazon Prime. I'm a longtime Amazon customer. So anyway, I go online to Grubhub and I order from Domino's. Or actually with Domino's, I did it online through their app and through their website. And the guy shows up with a pizza. I'm 45 minutes late. The pizza is cold. And I take the pizza and I say, dude, this is cold. And he says, well, I gotta go. You need to sign the receipt. And so I tipped him 2 cents. And about 15 minutes later, he comes back. He knocks on my door. He says, dude, I'm trying to make a living. He says, you only tipped me 2 cents. And I said, I know. I said, you brought me a cold pizza and you expected me to eat it. And so anyway, true story. And the guy pitches a fit about the tip. And I said, just get the fuck out of my sight. I said, he said, I remake pizza. And I'm like, well, go remake the pizza then. I said, I am still hungry. And so anyway, I waited another hour and no pizza. So I called over to the store, and I call repeatedly, but every time I call, it times out. Verizon Wireless times it out because the call isn't progressing fast enough. If you let it ring enough times, Verizon will say, fuck it, we're not waiting any longer. And Verizon Wireless will come on and say, we're sorry, the other party is not answering, and they'll drop the call in your lap. So I'm sure to let them get a lot more traffic through their network, and they probably did it for really good reason. Eventually, I keep calling Papa John's, and I do get the manager, and I tell him, I still haven't gotten that pizza he said he was going to remake. He says, well, I don't like it. You're over on Arbor Hills, huh? And he says, I don't like the way you talk to your driver. I said, I don't like the way your driver talked to me. He says, well, Papa John's is still open. So I call Papa John's, or not Papa John's, but I sign up for Papa John's online. I order a pizza from Papa John's, and the pizza shows up. And so anyway, long story short, I eat a little bit. I get 3 Papa John cookies. That was actually the night before. So I get 3 Papa John cookies, and I put them in the fridge, and it was like $10 a piece for these huge chocolate chip cookies, which is going to make my body composition even worse than it already is. Fuck, I'm looking old. Yeah, I look like that old person, and I have a hard time staying warm now, too. So they sent me out of the hospital. They put me on a different diuretic with my heart failure. I'm on torsemide now. The Indian hospitalist wannabe, as my doctor calls him. My doctor says the hospitalist is not a real Dr. Chuck. He says, to quote my doctor, he says, the hospitalist is Dr. Wannabe. And so he had me on too much Lasix, and I was bleeding from my penis. And I ended up over here at Presby Hospital. And they said, you got too much Lasix. And they said, you shouldn't be here. We're going to send you home. And they changed my prescriptions around, and I haven't had any bleeding or anything like that. And what Presby did was they ran an extra liter of fluid through me, just to Incidentally, if you've ever been in the hospital, they've quit using Foley catheters in hospitals now because they spread urinary tract infection so much. So Presby had an interesting solution. I guess they're part of a test group on a new device. And so they have this little bag thing that they attach to the vacuum on the wall, and it goes down around your private parts. And they tell you just pee away. And it's such a relief because, they feed you full of Lasix, and when you got to go, you really got to go. I mean, you really got to go. So anyway, and they want to monitor how much you pee, how much fluid you excrete. And so anyway, it sucks it right up, puts it in the jar on the wall, which makes it a lot easier for them, which makes it so much easier for whoever has the catheter on, because it just sucks it up and you don't have to deal with it. You can just pee whenever you want without having to press the help button and wait around. Hospitals are awful. They do a lot of stupid shit in hospitals. They leave alarms disconnected. They let them go off. They fuck around trying to get to your room, or they get with another patient. And I understand it's a noble profession. And guys, I know you work hard if you work in healthcare. And I'm very grateful because they keep saving my life over there at Presby. So anyway, I thanked them nicely when I left this last time. But the vacuum catheter is a really cool. The gal that came to me, I said, can you just put a pulley catheter in, and I'm gonna have to keep calling you back in here. And she's from New York, and she says, well, they fixed that. She says, I'm from Brooklyn, and we take things like that. And she, with all of her Brooklyn accent, she says, I can fix that. She says, we're part of a test group that's testing this new vacuum catheter. And she brings it in and says, this should take care of it. She says, they work pretty good. I said, does it really? I said, I just don't want to be sleeping in my own piss here. And I've had that happen when I was in the hospital. When I was in the hospital for 10 days with my stroke, I was really super incontinent, and it was a mess. They'd tell me just to do my thing on the sheets, and then they would roll me over and clean me up, and then tell me to do it on the sheets again, and they'd roll me over and clean me up. 10 days I was like that, but then I got transferred to Baylor Institute of Rehab over here in Frisco. And there they just strapped me in the bed and had bed alarms. They had chair alarms, wheelchair alarms, just regular lounge chair alarms. And that's where I learned how to mostly walk. And then when they thought I had COVID there, they transferred me to this horrible nursing home over in Plano. It was just awful. And now the name's slipping me. It's on Tradition Trail. I forget the name of it. But anyway, it was horrible. They locked me in a room there in isolation with COVID. So, what was the name of it? I've said it so much I never ever wanted to go back there. So I'm looking. Let's see here. I went off camera there for a little bit. Sorry about that. Carrera is the name of the place. C-A-R-R-A. They were horrible. I would never put anybody in that kind of a nursing home. They were horrible. And once my insurance ran out, they couldn't get me out the door fast enough. The staff was overworked. It would take days to get even toilet paper. I did get up and start walking when I was in isolation there, though. Just absolutely horrible management. And the staff was angry because they were all overworked and they were underpaid and they were in a nursing home. And, to give healthcare people their credit, they got into it because they like helping people. And this just satisfies a desire they have to help other people. I understand that. So anyway, I spit all over my damn screen here. Or maybe I spit a little bit on my camera, it looks like. So to get it off, looks like I did. So anyway, what's amazing is that these new iPhones, the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it's heavy and the battery will run all day, 13, 14 hours without ever having to plug it in if you don't need to. But it's heavy, it's like carrying around a brick. So anyway, I wanted to come in. I wanted to tell you about my experience with Jersey Mike's through Grubhub here a couple days ago as well, while I'm telling you food stories and terrible nursing home stories. Here's the Jersey Mike's. I go to Grubhub. I order my favorite number 17, which is Jersey Mike's famous Philly. I order it from Grubhub. My food doesn't show up, so I call the driver and it goes to voicemail, and there's no call back. There's no text back. And so I text back to the gal. I said, I don't have any food out in front of my door. Where's my food? And she says, it's delivered. And I said, no, it isn't. If it was, I would have food here. And so in the meantime, I get Grubhub chat on the line. And this gal, she argues with me, the food is too delivered. I said, no, it isn't. I said, otherwise it would be here. I said, if it was lost, I said, I will call you and help you find my place if you're lost. I said, I understand the complex is really big, but I can turn the lights on outside and get on the phone with you, and I can make sure you can find my place. But then she wouldn't talk to me at all, and I didn't call her any names or anything. She was just being a bitch. So anyway, that's my experience with the Grubhub driver named Angelina was her name. So anyway, she wasn't admitting she went to the wrong place and got lost, and somebody got a free meal. So long story short, I told Grubhub they should fire her, and then I called Jersey Mike's the next morning and talked to them, and they said she doesn't work for us. She works for Grubhub directly. They said you'll have to leave it to Grubhub to fire because we can't. So anyway, Papa John's is awful, and they're impossible to communicate with. I got a pizza last night from not Papa John's. Was it Papa John's? I think it was Papa John's. Domino's is awful. Every bit as awful as the surveys have said over the years. Even a few years back, the Domino's had a commercial. Sorry, we're so awful. We're working to get better. When they bombed like the JD, whatever the big survey company is, the Power Survey or whatever it's called. So anyway, the driver, he got his 2 cents all right, and probably a little more than he deserved. But of all the nerve, I should have just shut the door in his face and walked off and let him stand in there pouting. That's what I should have done when he came to me with that attitude. You know, take your 2 cents. I called Discover and said I want to dispute the charge, do a chargeback on it. And they said, well, they said Domino's has put in a refund already for however much it was. So anyway, that's the story. This Sunday, the 15th of January, 2023. So anyway, I found somebody to mount my TV in the other room because I just don't have the mobility to do it. I can't get my arm up high enough. And hopefully I can get the neurologist therapist to help me work on my motion and some neuroplasticity. Until you get in a spot where you can't do what you used to be able to do before, like speed typing and all that. See, my left hand doesn't move very well either. So took a big hit laying there those 14 hours on the floor. Bleeding inside my brain. I had a severe hemorrhagic stroke is what it's called. And it just really fucked up a lot of things. Where I used to be able to run the keyboard, I can't. I used to type 70 words a minute, and I could type as fast as people could talk, or as fast as I could think, actually. And now I can still 10 key on my right side because my right side is relatively unaffected. And the further along I get, one of the real challenges I have or had was tying a knot. And if the shoestring is long enough, or like the knot in a pair of shorts is long enough, or a pair of sweatpants is long enough, if I can loop it around, I worked on it for weeks. If I can loop it around far enough, I can tuck that loop inside, pull it out this way with my right hand, and I can tie a knot now, which was real progress that I celebrated about 3 months ago. So I want to work with this UT Southwestern neurologist to see how I can come along there. UT Southwestern is just inept in how they do their patient stuff. They really are. At one point, they called me 3 times in 1 hour on an appointment, which I said is, you guys, I don't want to talk right now. This is the third time you've called me this hour. And now they want a referral to the particular doctor. So I called Family Medicine, which is my primary care provider, which is absolutely great. They are a streamlined machine. They're over in Carrollton, and a group of 10 doctors, and they're all really, really good. And their staff is really, really good. So I called over there, and they called me back and said, well, we're going to do it direct to the therapist, so UT can't push back to you. So I gave him the gal's name. The last name was Jessup. That's supposed to work on it. So anyway, I'm hoping to work on some just basic life skills with this left side so I can do a lot of things better. It's frustrating, getting older. The hardest part is having to ask and explaining to somebody, I can't put my jacket on because I can't get my arm around, or I can't tie this knot, or I felt sorry for my maid. She used to be John's maid, but Martha called me twice on Friday. She must be in dire straits because she wanted to clean my house today. But I said, I lost my debit card, which I did, and I can't get to the bank, so unless I took a cash advance on my credit card, which is a dumb thing to do, which I'm not going to do. So anyway, I'll have to wait for the bank to open, and I ordered a new debit card. And I'll have Martha come over because she makes my bed and she kind of cleans my house up. Not as clean as I probably would do it sometimes, because I got down on the floor here the other night and scraped stuff up. So anyway, that's all I have for right now. Talk to you later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.